welcome to Conversations with Say What. Normally we talk to celebrities or people involved in the entertainment industry, but there's so much more to Say What than just entertainment. Today, I want to show you that. Today, I want to introduce to you someone that may be very familiar to you or someone that you may have never heard of. But by now, he should be familiar to you. Today, we're going to have Larry Hoover Jr., the son of Larry Hoover Sr., join us on Conversations with Say What. Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All right.
Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. So if it's okay, I'll get right on into it. I know you are kind of busy and everything.
Okay.
Okay. So if you don't mind, just for my viewers, would you mind just telling us a little bit about who you are and a little bit about your background?
My name is Larry Hoover Jr., and I'm the son of Larry Hoover Sr., and I consider myself a regular citizen out here, just like everybody else. My father is known for a little more than that. He has more of a history than me, but yeah, I'm the son of Larry Hoover Sr., who you heard of and know of. At least some people do.
So what was it like growing up as the son of Larry Hoover Sr.?
Well, growing up as the son of Larry Hoover Sr. was, it was cool. I grew up like a regular kid. When I found out that my father had somewhat of a reputation and some type of respect, that became a good thing and a bad thing. It was a bad thing because at certain points in life, I just really didn't know whether the weight he carried would be good or bad for me having the same name. And I think he worried about that at a point in life that I had his same name. But then it was also, good too, because people tried to look out for me. And I didn't really understand all the time why they were looking out for me or why they were actually looking out for me. But, I lived a regular life. My father, as far as what people may be interested in, I was pretty much kind of shielded from somewhat. So
Okay.
yeah, I lived the life as a regular kid. Had to go to school and do everything else that you did as a child growing up.
Okay. On Kanye's album, on his song Jesus Lord, you have a part where you're talking about how the government kept saying your father was going to come home, and then you got to middle school and he still wasn't home. Then you grew up and he still wasn't home. Now he has grandkids that he hasn't seen, and he's still not home. How has that impacted you? How has that impacted you as a father?
Well, it was actually him and my mother telling me that he was coming home.
Okay.
It wasn't necessarily the government saying that he was coming home, but just it impacted me to the fact of trying to do the best I can to stay out here in the streets to be a part of my kid's life. So it impacted me to know that my kids need me and I need to do everything I can to make sure I can stay here and be here for them. So with that being said, I worked the job and have been working the job for, a good paying job for all these years. And I never walked away from it,
Could you give us a little bit of background about your father and just a little bit more about who he is, just for those that don't know?
Okay. Well, when I speak of my father, I speak about mainly the attributes that I know about, that I respect and love, and I know it's a lot more to him than that. But for people that don't know, he's known as the leader of the Gangster Disciples, and that's where he gets the most press from. But my father is the guy that I seen when I was a young man, maybe around high school and college, that started pooling young guys together to start getting into voting, making sure the guys stayed in school, bringing guys together to march to keep community centers open in our community, keep the medical centers open in our community. He was doing stuff like marching so it wouldn't be closings of the schools. He pulled all the different street organizations together to make peace in the city because there was a lot of crime and a lot of murders going on. So I knew my father as a guy that came from the streets and was trying to make a transition from street behavior and activity into being a part of society and politics and taking control of his community for the better. And a lot of people don't know that part of the story. All they hear about is Chief Hoover or King Hoover when he's Larry Hoover, Mr. Larry Hoover. And yeah, I just want him to be known. He had more attributes to the world than just being a leader of a organization that's known for criminal activity.
Why do you think that side of him isn't portrayed more often?
Well, which side? The positive side?
Yes.
Well, for one, a lot of people don't know his image has been laid out by the governor and the media. I mean, the government and the media. And the media, when they buried him away from the world, you can't bury him away from the world and say that he was a good person trying to make changes in his community and that he was mobilizing his community like that. That wouldn't make sense as far as people are concerned. So they had to show what all negative energy they could show from him. So, they had a picture to paint. So they slander him every time he's mentioned. Even when they mention my father, they say the murderer. And the case that he's dealing with has nothing to do with him being a murderer. It's a drug case. It's a federal drug case.
I've heard you say before that I believe 6 out of 9 people involved in that same case was released. But for some reason, they keep denying your father's appeals.
Well, yeah, it was a lot of the guys have been released. I think that may be the correct number. I'm not sure of the exact number. But under the First Step Act, my father qualifies to be released. Like, he fits the criteria to be released under the First Step Act, just like all the other guys on his case do. But it's left up to the judge's discrepancy. And what we're fighting to do is to let the judge know that my father is he's an asset to our community, that he wouldn't come home and be involved in any type of criminal activity. Like, the judge has to worry about whether it would be a good decision. Like, it's in his mind to fight, like, if I let him go, will I be the one, that freed Larry Hoover? And he want to make sure that it's the right decision. And we just trying to show the world that we're trying to get the world to get behind us, to let the judge know that we want him to have a second chance at life, on top of the fact that he's been living in inhumane conditions for 26 years and his crime doesn't even fit the criteria to be in the situation that he's in. Like, we just want him to have an opportunity to come back to the world just like those other guys do. But because he's considered as the leader is one of the reasons why the judge is not sure if it'll be safe for him to come back to the world, because he believed that he doesn't believe, but he doesn't know if he will come back and use his influence negatively. And we're trying to show him that he's not even interested in doing anything that's negative after being locked away for 26 years.
Right.
And solitary confinement also. It's not just being locked away. He's been pretty much living in a 23-1 situation, situations that drive men crazy.
In Colorado, correct?
Yep, underground in the ADX in Colorado.
So you've had celebrities like Jay Prince, Kanye West, Drake and Lil Durk, and others support your movement. Do you feel like their involvement is helping with what you're trying to do?
Well, yeah, it's definitely helping. You know, it brings awareness to the situation so people can know what's going on. It gives the platform to speak on what's actually going on with my father, knowing that, you know, it gives you the opportunity to correct when they say that when they say that he's a murderer. It gives you the opportunity to correct that. It gives you the opportunity to let people know that he's living in inhumane situation. It gives the opportunity to let people know that he's a senior citizen and that like only 2% of senior citizens, once they are released, commit crimes. Like it just helps let the world know that to quit looking for Larry Hoover, the leader of the Gangster Disciples. It brings other attorneys and people that understand what's going on to the table, and it's special interest with some of those guys that you mentioned to make sure that, you know, we can get help with attorneys and, you know, just get to some of the people that we need to get to. So it doesn't actually help as far as really correct, like giving the judge the point of view that we want them to have. Like we have to actually show some things to the judge, you know, put forth a paperwork that shows the judge why it would be a good idea to let him come back to the world. But they don't actually, you know, influence the judge like that, but they influence the community to get behind this situation.
Right. So do you think in the future there'll be, or do you know, or can you tell us if in the future there'll be any kind of scripts or movies or anything about your father and to bring more awareness to what's going on?
You know what? I would hope that it would be something at some point in time down the line. I couldn't say that something is coming or what have you, you know what I mean? But I would hope that we can actually tell his story. It would be an interesting story, and it's a lot more to it than, you know, what we get to hear, even what I could tell, you know, so it would be interesting.
I recently saw 50 Cent say a post of Free Larry Hoover. He made a Free Larry Hoover post recently. You think maybe 50 Cent would get involved?
I
Have
mean,
y'all talked about it?
we've been trying to tell this story for a long time, and that would be a good person because he's in the perfect lane to make something like that happen, you know? Yeah. So, you know, who knows? Anything could happen.
Yeah, I would like to see that. I think that would be really good. It's not often we get to see the actual person's side of the view with their families involved. So if that is possible, I think that would be really dope.
Yeah, yeah.
So can you tell us where we can go to see, learn more about your campaign and support what you're doing? I know you have the hats and the sweatshirts and all kind of merchandise.
Okay, so you can go to the LarryHooverProject.org, and that's about prison reform. It tells you a little bit about him and what's going on with him and some of the other people's situations that we fighting for out here. Then you can go to Larry Hoover Jr. _ No, that's on Instagram, and that's just me moving around. And then we have LarryHooverJr.com where we sell the merchandise.
Okay. If your father was sitting with you right now, what do you think he would want the world to know?
I think that if my father was sitting with me, what he would want the world to know. So basically, what would he tell to the world? Because he's very outspoken and opinionated. So he would be saying it himself. He wouldn't want me to tell him. I mean, I think he would make a message for our young men and women out here, for our young community, to make better choices so they don't end up where he's at. Like he said it years ago, he said he understood who you are and what you're going through because he was you. And if you don't watch what you're doing, you go be him. And he's incarcerated. So I think his message would be to, like we need to move different and change the way that we interact and deal with each other, because right now it's a lot of, I want to say it's a lot of hate and anger, and we don't address each other like family or anything. It's kind of rough out here. We need to
Right.
spread love and not pain and anger.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna hold you. I know you're a busy man. So do you have any final words or any shout outs you want to give to anybody before we go?
I just want to say thank you for having me. I would just like everybody to remember that we're fighting for Larry Hoover Sr., the man, not King Hoover, not Chief Hoover. He's he's a senior citizen living in an inhumane situation that deserves a second chance at life, just like any other individual would with a case like his that's freed and brought back to the world. And that shout out to all the entertainers, Kanye, he put us on this platform, Drake for pitching in and helping, Lil Durk for giving the word every time he gives a word, just everybody that's helping put the word out and helping us move forward in this fight and bringing more people to the table that might be able to help us to get somewhere. And I appreciate all the help and the love that's out there.
So other than buying the merch, is there anything else that people can do that want to get involved and want to help?
At this particular moment is nothing exactly right now, but I will reach back out to you and all the other networks that are helping put this out to the world when it's time for the community to join in. I just want everybody to pass the word along, to just be a part of the movement. And also the Free My Father shirts is for my father, but it's also for other individuals. My father is not the only father that's incarcerated, not the only father that may be having a issue with alcohol or drugs or,
Right.
A mental issue. Like Free My Father is a whole movement, and it's not just about my father, although it is about my father.
Right.
That's why it's empty in the middle. You can put the name of the person that you're supporting there, So I just wanted that understanding to be there.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. Thank you.
Yep.
So I want to say thank you again for coming through Say What in the Streets. And I hope that this helps to make more awareness and get more people involved.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for having me. And like I said, I'll reach back out to you when it's time to get that ask for what the community can actually do to really help. Yep.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Yep.